No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
Today we're going to jumpstart what I call stalling forward. So let me ask you another question, and you can choose to type it in if you want. I hope you do. And that means later on, because I always go back and look at the comments from our jumpstarts. Have you ever been in an airplane stall? Have you ever been in an airplane stall? Take a second and ask yourself that question. I was a pilot. I don't use the term am a pilot. I never officially got my license. I soloed, flew a couple of times. I passed the FAA quiz, the big test, which that was one of the reasons I chose not to continue my flight training. Because after I'm just going to be honest with you, after studying for about a year and a half, I passed by 1 point. Do you want to be in a plane with a pilot who passed his FAA quiz by 1 point? I didn't. So that was one of the reasons that I chose not to continue. So my question for you is, have you ever been in an airplane stall? And then let me tell you, it's a trick question because you have. If you've flown in an airplane, thank God you have been in an airplane stall. Because the only way to land an airplane is to stall the airplane. It's the only way. You literally have to get it to where and I was going to look this up, and I asked you-know-who several times, and I got a different answer, but I'm pretty sure it's called the Bernoulli effect. Here's how an airplane works. Take a look at these wings behind me. If you're looking at the thumbnail, listening to this as a podcast, if you look at the wings that are in the image on the thumbnail, or if you're looking at the screen live right now, you will notice that the front of an airplane better known as an airfoil, is always wider than the back of the wing. The front is wider than the back. Now, what this does is it literally separates the air molecules. Now, the air molecules have a strong desire to get back together. That's what they want to do. They want to reconnect. You know, nature abhors a vacuum. When you split these air molecules, they want to rush to get there. Now, the distance underneath, I know this is technical, but the distance underneath the wing is therefore, because it's larger, creates a high pressure, thank goodness, a high pressure, which pushes the airplane up. And that's what actually causes a plane to fly. Now, if you aim too high up in your plane and you're not going fast enough, because think of those little stunt planes. They can go straight up, spin, they can do hammerheads, they can do all kinds of things because they have sufficient thrust. But if you're aiming high without sufficient thrust, that's when you can stall. So whenever you feel that little right before the wheels touch the ground on a plane, that little right there where the plane kind of goes like this, that is literally the pilot stalling the plane so that it can come in for a safe landing. So we have this idea of airplane stalls as the plane goes whoa, and spins and goes down like they used to show in a 1950s movie. That's not at all what happens. When a plane is flying along, and I wish I had a plane here. I've got a pen. Let me see if I can use my pen. When a plane is flying along, here we go. Plane is flying along, and it begins to stall. It does not spin unless there are reasons it could spin. This pilot could accidentally cause it to spin. But what happens is the plane literally begins to drop this way like a stone. It begins to drop. Now, how do you get out of it? How do you get out of a stall? Number one, stay calm. Number two, which is actually the first suggestion is that you literally, when you're in a stall, it's counterintuitive, but what you've got to do is reconnect that wind that is passing over the wings, that air. You've got to close the gap and the length of time it takes to get there. So what you've got to do is turn down into a stall. You turn down into a stall when you're in the air. And then what you actually do is try and speed up. Now that sounds crazy. You mean you want me, while I'm stalling and falling, to turn and aim and speed up? You're exactly right. Otherwise, you're dead. It's the only way out of a stall. You need to actually turn into it. You need to speed up. And then the third thing is, you gain control and you soar. You gain control and you soar. I don't know about you, but my life has felt somewhat stalled. And the stalling always happens in our own minds. We think that our lives are being stalled by external things that are going on. We're waiting. I remember we're waiting for external changes. Comedian Rita Rudner used to say that her dad would never buy new clothes until he finally lost that 20 pounds he wanted to lose. She says he's easy to spot at family reunions. He's the one still wearing a Cub Scout uniform. People get stalled in their lives. They have this feeling of being stalled when they're the ones who are actually, we're the ones, let me say we are the ones who are creating the mental structure in which it is that we feel stalled. Now, one of the things to remember is that when you're in a stall, yes, you need to turn into it, and yes, you need to speed up, and you also need to know when to slowly pull yourself out of it. Right now, it seems like we're waiting. I began by talking today about the fact that even though the election date is actually a little less than a week away, half the people who voted in 2016, the number of people, have already voted by early voting or by mail-in voting. So the country, I know, in some ways feels stalled. We're like, what's going to happen? There are people who are equally terrified on both sides. So we turn into a stall. We accept what may happen. We do everything to try and correct it ourselves before it happens. That is, to take action for your particular political party or persuasion, to talk to people, to try and influence voters, to encourage people to vote first and foremost. But we turn into it. But a lot of us are concerned about that. We feel stalled because of the coronavirus. We can go out, but we can't really go out. I'm starting to get invitations, not only to speak, but social invitations, which seem to just sort of forget the fact that we're in the middle of the coronavirus and that we actually are reporting higher incidences of people having the virus every single day. That's not the kind of turning into it I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is removing this idea in our own minds and realizing that we have far more control than we ever imagined. Now, please let me contextualize this. When I say that in many ways, the coronavirus pandemic and the changes that it has forced have helped me carry my message to the world way more than ever before. And that's my mission, is to carry the message of becoming a complaint-free person and living a life of gratitude to the world. And as a result, I've now built a home studio. I am doing speeches. I am reaching more people on a daily basis through these live JumpStarts. And that's really the key, the fact that they're live. I am reaching more people every day. I turned into this. Now, I know a lot of speakers who are just waiting for this to turn around, and that is one very good strategy. I have a number of employees and commitments, and so I literally could not afford to do that. So I had to change overnight. I had to figure out how to create. I had to figure out how to build all of this, you know? I had to find the cameras, the lighting, and everything like that. Did I want to become into all this tech? Not really. I had other things. I had already written programs I wanted to share with you all and things I wanted to do. And yet it's been a real blessing. We turned into it. I invite you to turn into it as well. If you feel stalled in your life, ask yourself, where do I feel stalled? And then begin to take action, some sort of action. One of my lifelong friends always used to say, do something, even if it's wrong. Take action, move into it. Now, if you feel stalled in your career, that might mean literally sitting down and asking yourself, or if you've been laid off or furloughed, what is it I would like to do? Once this is over and done, where do I want to be in 5 to 10 years? Is this an opportunity for me to leave a job that I'm making $150,000 a year, but I really don't like? Maybe I can begin to do something else. Remember, I always tell people this. There are professional ice cream and chocolate tasters in the world. Now, you've got to have a particular set of skills and hone them. Just don't ever limit yourself and think that this is what you have to do. This pandemic has helped me because of my leaning into it, because I just decided to do the JumpStart the very first day live for the first time ever. It gives me something every morning to look forward to being with you and to connecting with you and to beginning to know you even more, so that you're part of my life and I'm part of your life. So how can you stall forward? In other words, if you want out of a stall, discover where you are and what can you do to move forward? What can you do? And then add energy, add speed. You literally, when you're in a stall, you don't just turn down, you speed up. How crazy is that? You aim down and you speed up. But what that does is it gives you the lift so that you can continue or begin to fly again, to regain control in your life. So if you feel stalled, where do you feel stalled? Take action and add speed. Add speed. It's so easy not to add speed. Okay, well, I'll do that. What'd you do? Made a phone call. What happened in the phone call? They didn't answer. I left a message. Make another call. Make another call. One of the things we've realized is that even when somebody really wants to hire me as a speaker, they've called them, they've expressed an interest, etc., it's a long decision-making process, and we want them to remember me. So we have a campaign of 10 emails that goes out over a 3-month period, just sort of checking in, reminding them, sending them reviews, etc. It's taking action. It's taking action. I realize that this morning or whenever you're watching this, I'm not giving you specific suggestions on how to improve any one area of your life. I am, however, inviting you to realize that whenever you feel stuck or stalled, you're Brer Rabbit and you're the one who jumped in the briar patch. All right? Or you're the one who got in the fight with the tar baby. That's the metaphor I was looking for. There you go. You're the one that got in the fight with the little tar baby. You're the one who has made yourself stuck. Turn into it. Take action and increase your speed. You'll be surprised. It's amazing. And taking action, again, we tend to think, taking action, okay, I'm going to have to sell my house and change my hairstyle. No. Pick up your phone and Google what it is you think you want to do. Find out someone who's doing what you want to do. And I mean, even if you're feeling stalled, like you'd like to have a hobby in your life, think of what it is you want to do. And if you don't know what you want to do, as I always say, Make a list of what you don't want to do and see what's left. You'll be surprised. You do know what you want to do. You've just never been given permission by the world or by yourself to make those decisions. And now I'm giving them to you. Stall forward. Thanks, everybody. Natasha Harris says, take action. I agree 100%. Yes. Michelle Doherty says, oh, wow, absolutely. Sometimes it's best to stay off the brakes. There's no momentum if the foot is on the brake. That's a great way of putting it, Ed. Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for being with me. I'm so excited about all of the people who are joining the complaint-free meditation program. In about 7 minutes, we're going to get together and we're going to meditate for 20 minutes. Now, what if you can't do it in 7 minutes? We have a library of close to 100 meditations already that you can join and you can watch. So check it out. If you want to become happier and healthier, complaintfreemeditation.com. Kathy says, thank you. My honor, everybody. Listen, enjoy today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more